What I love about UFC is, different from the NBA. Every 3 to 4 years, new stars emerge. Like I've been there. I've been there from the beginning. Tank, Superman. What was his name? The guy with the funny legs. Superman. Tim.
The guy with the funny legs.
Yes, he had funny legs. He was tall.
Oh, Tim Sylvia.
Yes.
Tim Sylvia. Yeah. Okay.
Tim Sylvia. Like I've been around those guys.
Sorry, Tim, for insulting your funny legs.
Cabbage.
He does have funny legs.
Cabbage, all these guys.
Oh, yeah. Cabbage Carrera. That dude was nasty at the time, too. He's fun to watch.
Who are your favorite fighters? Give me your top 5 favorite fighters of all time. It doesn't matter the era. Just
Yeah, not best,
Yes.
favorite.
Favorite?
Yeah, favorite.
Yeah.
Favorite.
I mean, you got my two all-time favorites, the two people that were the best to ever deal with and that I absolutely love, Chuck Liddell, Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey's the greatest athlete I've ever worked with by 100 miles, okay? And then Conor McGregor has been a great athlete to work with for me. Let me think. I mean, there's been...
When you say that about Ronda, because I've heard you say that, is it in terms of her ability to handle the spotlight? What do you mean was the best to work with?
First of all, her belief in herself that she could do anything, right, is what ended up being her downfall, because she ended up becoming so big and so popular that she took on so many different things at the same time. Meanwhile, all the other women in the division are just training to beat Ronda. Right, exactly. Right? You break Ronda down and you just figure out how to beat Ronda. Ronda took everything on her back and carried it, and she would never say no to anything. And and she's one of the greatest human beings ever. I love everything about her, and I loved my time that I worked with her. Not to mention the fact that she's the one that opened my eyes to women fighting, and look at what you see now when you see these women fight.
So you said Rousey, Liddell. Who else do you have on that top 5 favorites? Conor McGregor.
Jon Jones.
No. He didn't say best ever.
Yeah, you said
greatest to work with.
Okay, go. Yeah. Tito.
The Tito's been awesome. Yeah, another great guy. Yeah.
It's been interesting.
Listen, and that's the thing about when I talk about Jon Jones. Like, it's not like I'm trying to say, these other people that had great relationships are the greatest of all time.
No.
Jon Jones and I have not had a great relationship as far as business goes. But that doesn't, twist my judgment.
Right.
He is the greatest combat fighter of all time. Period. End of story. There's not even an argument.
And I could tell how you speak of him. It's all about respect.
100%.
And this is what I tell people all the time. I don't get along with a lot of people. Like, I don't get along with Charles, but I respect him.
Right.
I didn't get along with the great Kobe, but I respect him. That's why we won championships. And that's okay. People want you to be lovey-dovey, and it's not always like that for whatever reason. But I could be, what? Before you did this podcast, I've watched you say that 100,000 times about him, and I agree with everything you said.
It's an absolute fact.
I've seen you talk about how meticulous you are. I'm curious. Pay-per-view, let's say UFC 304. The morning of the fight, of the event, what are you like? What time are you waking up? What is it like for you that day?
The day of the event is really, really chill for me. I mean, leading up that week is all the work and we're the bells and whistles. That's what we do, right? The day the fight's starting, the torch gets passed over to the fighters. I've done my job. All the bells and whistles are done.
You're just shaking hands.
They need to get in there and deliver. That's it. What I do is I make sure, when Shaq shows up and our sponsors, that everybody's having a good time, everybody's taken care of, everybody's treated well, and then the fighters take over and they do what they do.
All right, Dan, the last question, because we know you got to go. I saw a kids MMA event. I don't want to put the UFC time, but it kind of looked like UFC for kids. Are you for or against that?
I'm against it. And listen, the greatest thing that you can do for your kids, put your kids in jiu-jitsu, put your kids in Muay Thai, have your kids box, do these things that keep them physically active. They get stronger. They get better. They become more self-confident. If they're ever in a situation, which we all end up in at some point in life, they're confident that they can defend themselves. They won't get bullied. They won't get picked on. But putting 2 little kids in to fight,
scary.
Having them fight, it's not my thing. Now, there's bad like Habib Nurmagomedov and some of these other guys that grew up doing that.
Yeah. In the gulag.
And I always talk about how soft America is, that we're turning into a bunch of If anything ever, Habib and his crew could probably come wipe out half the country. You know what I mean? Because that's how all these guys grew up. They grew up hard. These guys grew up in Dagestan. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm part of soft America now too. I just don't like putting kids in those situations.
I saw a kids event. These kids have swag. Like,
They're killers.
No, like they come out, they're just talking, and they're doing all the moves.
You love that shit.
I actually like that.